Welcome. This is Subject to Existing Debt Spreadsheet, video tutorial number 4. My name is Jeffrey Smith. In this example, it's a slightly different variation on the financing structure for a 30-unit apartment building. In this case, we have blended financing where the seller can only get $125,000 in the second position installment loan. There's an existing loan of $600,000. There's 20 years remaining at 4.25%. You bring in a preferred equity private financier under these parameters for $125,000. The blended wraparound applies to the preferred equity tranche, not to the seller's secondary tranche. He's simply borrowing $125,000, and that will be his down payment. So the parameters work out. We're paying the private financier $5,000 as an origination fee, paying the seller $125,000 because that's all he really cares about is getting out some cash. He's very motivated. We cover the closing costs of about 1%, renovation costs at $2,500 per unit times 30 units is $75,000. So we cash out a gross of $250, give back $125 for the down payment, and the seller's happy and walks away. Looking at the Microsoft Word mail merge template, the letter of intent commercial shows these parameters. We show $850,000 as our all-in investment. We want to be credited $250,000 at closing, from which we'll pay these expenses and costs. Total financing adds up to the same amount. Actually, we're getting a net cash to buyer of $125, so the net purchase price is $725. The seller's getting a down payment of $125, leaving effective financing of $600,000. The financing structure is 3 tranches. There's an existing loan with these parameters. We're asking the seller to take out an installment loan for $125 and to roll in an incentive fee of 2% at 6% interest, fully amortizing over 10 years. So the seller gets his $125,000 now, and we make the payments. We bring in a third position, preferred equity private financier, for another $125,000. We add in a 4% incentive fee. The nominal interest rate is 8%, amortized over 120 periods. And when we present this letter of intent, we would not show the wraparound financing structure. We would just delete these lines and delete any mention of the wraparound. The seller does not need to know about that. But for the preferred equity financier, even though his nominal rate is 8% over 10 years, we incentivize him by showing the wraparound. If he holds his tranche position as a wraparound, and this can be done for equity in addition to being done for loans, you can just structure in the LLC operating agreement that the preferred equity membership interest is structured in this way. So we have total cash at maturity, subtracting the senior payments, that's the payments to the primary loan and the seller's installment loan, minus the maturity values of the primary loan. The secondary installment loan fully amortizes, and this is the net cash to the financier at maturity. The total cash received by the financier is $415,372. We subtract the origination fee that he got at closing, subtract the periodic payments that he received, so his effective balloon after 10 years is $220,797. His annual effective yield on his $125,000 investment is 18.71%. This is a strong incentive to a private financier to accept his investment position as a non-voting preferred equity member. From this financial structure, we see that we're getting a cash out of $36,500 at closing. The seller's getting his $125,000 down payment. We're getting funds to renovate the property. And when it's all said and done, we're receiving a monthly cash flow before tax of $1,839. Monthly cash flow after tax is $1,343. You got a nothing down deal with cash back at closing. The seller got his cash at closing. You got money for financing the renovations, and you're receiving $1,343 in net cash flow. You have no cash invested in the deal, therefore your return on equity is infinite. This has been Subject to Existing Debt Spreadsheet, video tutorial number 4. My name is Jeffrey Smith, and thank you for your support.